Coming up on this Tuesday edition of Daybreak, from a possible delay of taking over wartime control from the US to the government's scaled-back pension plan, lawmakers grill President Park Geun-hye's ministers on the opening day of the 20-day parliamentary audit. With North Korea's surly attitude towards the South and no progress on the development of the inter-Korean Gaeseong Industrial Complex, Seoul calls off a Foreign Investors' Day scheduled at the end of the month. Plus, a suspected leader of a Somali pirate group has been arrested in Belgium. Big Mouth, as he is known, faces charges of hijacking a Belgian ship in 2009 and kidnapping its crew. Daybreak begins now.
You're watching Daybreak on Tuesday, October 15th, and I'm Choi here in Seoul. Let's start this morning at the nation's parliament, where the annual audit of government ministries and agencies kicked off on Monday. With a range of contentious issues at hand, lawmakers from both major parties had said they would put their political interests aside and focus on conducting a fair audit. Our Kim Young-gil reports.
The National Assembly launched a 20-day-long parliamentary audit on 628 ministries and other government offices on Monday. On day one, 12 agencies were under fierce scrutiny over issues such as national diplomacy and security. On matters regarding foreign affairs and unification, ruling and opposition lawmakers grilled Foreign Minister Yoon Byung-se about how Korea plans to deal with Japan's territorial claims and its renewed push to beef up its defense capabilities.
The Foreign Ministry is doing all it can strategically to deal with Japan beefing up its military strength and raising its territorial disputes. We are working towards getting support from the international community.
In the audit into the Defense Ministry, lawmakers touched upon the timing of OPCON transfer from Washington to Seoul, initially slated for 2015. Defense Minister Kim Kwan-jin assured lawmakers that Seoul and Washington have agreed to review the possible delay of transfer next year, after reviewing North Korean threats and Seoul's capabilities to deal with them. Politically sensitive issues such as President Park Geun-hye's recent proposal to scale back the national pension program, as well as major projects under former President Lee Myung-bak, such as the 4 major river restoration project and the development of resources overseas, were also put under the spotlight. Meanwhile, prior to the audit, the ruling Saenuri Party took a step toward ending the political deadlock that has plagued the assembly for months by asking the main opposition Democratic Party to sign a joint declaration that says they'd put arguments aside and focus on improving the livelihoods of the people. The DP declined the proposal. Over the next 20 days, the political analysts expect that the ruling and opposition parties will butt heads over differences in the government inspections. By the time the audit ends on November 2nd, it will have been the largest parliamentary audit in the nation's history. Kim Young-gil, Arirang News.
South Korea has indefinitely postponed an investor relations event that had been planned for the end of this month at the Inter-Korean Factory Park in the North Gaeseong. The event agreed between the two Koreas was initially aimed at attracting foreign investors to set up factories at the Gaeseong Industrial Complex. A Unification Ministry official explained that the event was put on hold as various issues at the factory zone remain unresolved, ranging from customs inspections to mobile and internet connections. After canceling the inter-Korean family reunions last month, Pyongyang has also called off a number of working-level talks on matters concerning the business park. Turning to the latest on the investigation into alleged tax evasion by one of the nation's largest conglomerates. Prosecutors have started questioning Hyoseong Group chairman's right-hand man, who largely handled the chairman and his family's assets. And as our Song Ji-san reports, more key officials will be called in for questioning in the coming days.
Following a raid on Hyoseong Group's headquarters last week, The Seoul Central District Prosecutor's Office are expected to summon key company officials and the group's owner in the coming days. Korea's tax agency previously filed charges against the group's chairman, Cho Sung-rae, for orchestrating a tax evasion scheme through various illegal means. The conglomerate allegedly evaded corporate taxes worth 1 trillion won, or about $900 million for a period of 10 years following the Asian financial crisis in 1997 through accounting fraud. Cho himself is also accused of holding shares under borrowed names to evade transfer and income taxes totaling more than $90 million. Along with computer hard drives and documents, including accounting books, prosecutors say they found a USB drive with evidence of accounting fraud linked to a Hyosun Group executive identified only by his surname, Ko. The tax office has already placed travel bans on Cho and Ko, along with Hyosun Group Vice Chairman Lee Sang-un. Hyosun Group, the country's 26th largest conglomerate, does business mainly in the fields of energy and heavy industry and owns more than $10 billion in assets. Song Ji-sun, Arirang News.
Korea's top business groups will see their maturing bonds expire by the end of next year, with the amount edging up to 30 trillion won, or $28 billion, raising concerns about their financial health. According to a local market researcher, Daybreak.com, the country's top 30 conglomerates hold a total of $75.4 billion in debt. Of the total, $27 billion in corporate bonds will come due in 2014. SK Group, the country's third largest business group, has the most bonds set to mature next year at $2.9 billion, followed by Hanjin Group and Lotte Group. Market watchers say local conglomerates could face a liquidity crisis amid the protracted slump in the country's bond market. Prominent leaders from the energy sector are gathered in Central Korea for the 22nd World Energy Congress to discuss the most pressing energy issues facing the international community. Our Yoo-An reports from Daegu.
Over 5,000 delegates from more than 100 countries came together at the World Energy Congress 2013. The World Energy Council, which hosts a triennial event, said today's major energy issues represents the energy trilemma and include a depletion of natural resources, environmental pollution, and climate change. The delegates called for a shift toward cleaner, renewable energy and a shift away from those that emit carbon dioxide.
And one of the biggest issues is that coal and gas and fossil fuels will remain one of the most predominant energy fuels going forward. And whilst renewables have made a phenomenal increase in what they're doing, they're still only a small percentage of the wider energy mix.
As a country with limited natural resources, Korea is heavily dependent on imports of fossil fuels and coal, which accounts for around 70% of Korea's total energy mix. But the host city of the WEC, Daegu, also known as Korea's green growth capital, represents hope.
Daegu declared a solar city in 2004, and on the occasion of this 22nd World Energy Congress, Daegu has a very ambitious plan and target to make the renewable energy portion as high as 23% by 2022.
At 6%, Daegu currently has the highest renewable energy proportion of any Korean city. It also houses the country's first solar power plant, which generates 200 kilowatts of electricity, and a pioneering R&D facility for recharging hydrogen fuel cell automobiles. But Daegu isn't alone in its green energy push. The Korean government's new energy draft announced on Sunday calls for reduced reliance on nuclear power by nearly half to as low as 22% by 2035, and an increased dependence on renewable energy from 5 to 15%. As global leaders discuss ways to create a more environmentally friendly and cost-efficient energy system, Korea too is taking its own steps to tap into the future of energy. Yoo-An, Arirang News, Daegu.
Korea may be reeling from months of political bickering, but the nation takes pride in the fact that it has risen from the ashes of the Korean War to becoming a shining example of democracy. The world's most advanced and emerging democracies took note of that accomplishment and chose Korea as the headquarters of the world's first election management body. Our Kim Hyun-ji takes us there.
The world's first election management body will be headquartered in Songdo, Incheon, about an hour west of Seoul. Representatives of election management agencies from more than 100 nations and international organizations gathered in Songdo on Monday to draft a charter for the Association of World Election Bodies, or AWEB. At an inaugural ceremony Monday, the chairman of Korea's National Election Commission, Lee In-bok, said AWEB will serve as a global platform for managing elections.
Each of us, as our respective nation's election management body, have worked individually so far to strengthen electoral democracy. But we have realized that we need a global network for sharing our experiences to better advance our national democracies.
Delegates of both advanced and emerging democracies expressed high expectations for AWEB. The delegation from Egypt, a country currently being led by an interim government, said it hopes to learn from the experiences of others.
Egypt's High Election Commission is preparing for a referendum that will come very soon, and then it will be preparing for parliamentary and presidential elections. So we have very high expectations for AWEB in order to have fair, transparent, and credible elections.
In 2011, Korea first proposed setting up a world election management body and has since formed working groups representing the 6 continents and international organizations. Acknowledging that initiative, the world delegates elected Korea as the association's first chair and the Dominican Republic as vice chair. Korea's hosting of AWEB in Songdo is expected to have various political, diplomatic, and economic benefits. Officials say AWEB in Songdo will bring Korea's brand image up a notch and have the economic inducement effect of some $50 million every year by providing job opportunities and boosting local food, transport, and lodging industries. Kim Hyun-ji, Arirang News, Incheon.
If you want the latest news from Korea and around the world.
Return to the negotiation.
President Park Geun-hye plans, given the current circumstances.
On your way to work or at home.
Defense Ministry. The legislature will convene a...
Tune into Daybreak on Arirang TV.
Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said Tuesday that U.S. President Barack Obama's meeting with congressional leaders at the White House has been postponed to give Senate leaders more time to resolve the deadlock over the nation's debt. Sources from the Republican and Democratic parties say that it can be seen as a positive sign that congressional leaders may be close to striking a debt ceiling and government funding deal. President Obama had been due to meet Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, Senate Republican Leader Mitch McConnell, House Speaker John Boehner, and House Democratic Leader Nancy Pelosi. The White House didn't mention when the meeting will be rescheduled for, but gave no indication it would happen in the next few hours. The U.S. has until Thursday this week to raise the debt ceiling to avert a potentially disastrous default on its debt. One of Somalia's most notorious pirate leaders has been captured in Belgium. Belgian police say they arrested Mohamed Abdi Hassan, also known as Big Mouth, on Monday after an undercover sting. The UN has described Hassan as one of the most influential Somali pirates, with his crew netting about $160 million in 2011 alone, most of it coming from ransom payments after hijacking operations. Police in Belgium say they worked for months trying to persuade Hassan to come to Europe to take part in a documentary film, only to arrest him after he arrived at the airport on Saturday. A team of international experts has started its week-long assessment of the cleanup process at Japan's crippled Fukushima nuclear plant. The 16-member group from the International Atomic Energy Agency will inspect the remediation of radioactive contamination at the site and advise the Japanese government on ways to better manage the crisis. A report based on their study will also be released. The first IAEA visit to Fukushima in 2 years comes as Tokyo continues to come under international criticism for its sluggish response to the nuclear contamination. In July, plant operator TEPCO admitted highly radioactive water has been seeping into the Pacific Ocean since soon after the March 2011 quake and tsunami. This year's Nobel Prize in Economic Sciences has been awarded to 3 American professors. The Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences in its announcement on Monday said Eugene Fama, Lars Peter Hansen, and Robert J. Schiller were recognized for laying the foundation for the current understanding of asset prices. All 6 of this year's Nobel Prizes have now been announced.
And a good Tuesday morning to you all. Now here's a question. Do you believe in miracles? Well, if you're a Tucson Bears fan, chances are you do. Game 5 of the first round of the KBO postseason between the Tucson Bears and the Nexen Heroes took place last night. Let's take a look at the highlights. Of course, now going into the game here, scoreless game until the 4th inning. 2-men on Ewon Suk. An off-balance swing here, but it keeps going and gone. A 3-run shot to left field, and the Tucson Bears take a 3-0 lead. Meanwhile, Tucson starting pitcher Yoo Hee-kwan not looking like a rookie pitcher in this game, just absolutely lights out, throwing a no-hitter going into the 8th inning of the game until Kim Min-sung breaks the no-hitter, and he's immediately taken out of the game. Meanwhile, shifting to the 9th inning, Oh Jae-won at bat grounds this one here. Park Byung-ho throws home, and Hug Young-min is nailed at home. Still 3-0. Bottom of the 9th inning, 2 outs. Here is Park Byung-ho, says, oh yeah, a game-time 3-run shot, and the stadium is going crazy. Stays that well until the 13th inning when Choi Jun-suk leads off with a solo shot to deep center field. 4-3 Tucson Bears. Next play, Min Byung-hun an RBI double to right makes it 5-3 Tucson. And check this out, Oh Jae-won bat this time, and there it goes, a 3-run shot to right, and Tucson now takes an 8-3 lead. Bottom of the 13th inning, Lee Tae-gun at bat, and here it is, a 2-run shot to left, and it's now 8-5 Tucson. Miracle Nexen, forget about it. Here it goes, ball game over. Tucson completes the reverse sweep and advances to the next round against the LG Twins. Amazing there, but moving over to the majors where the LA Dodgers could certainly use some of that miracle as they're now currently down 2-0 against the St. Louis Cardinals in the National League Championship Series. And with Ryu Hyun-jin taking the mound later today, it's a must-win situation. And going up against the South Korean lefty will be a 19-game winner, Adam Wainwright, who led the Cardinals to the best record in baseball this season. And while Ryu Hyun-jin has been great at home, the offense has been struggling as of late, and they might be without their star shortstop Hanley Ramirez, who scratched from Game 2 with an injured rib. Now, big game for Ryu as the Dodgers hope to bounce back in this series. And shifting over to football, later tonight at the Cheonan Sports Complex, the Korean national football team is set to face off against Mali. And trust me, this isn't going to be an easy match. The 58th ranked Korea is facing off against the 38th ranked Mali later tonight. And manager Hong Young-go stated that he will utilize the same lineup he used against Brazil. Despite the fact that it's just a friendly, Korea really needs the confidence at the moment, and beating the talented African team will do just that. Meanwhile, the match will kick off at 8 p.m. And speaking of the national team, former national team striker Lee Chun-soo is in trouble once again, this time with the law. The police have questioned Lee Chun-soo regarding an incident that took place in early Monday morning, where a fight broke out between Lee and a customer at a bar. According to a witness, Lee Chun-soo broke about 20 bottles of beer out of anger, with Lee adding that he did not assault the quote-unquote victim. The Incheon United star also stated that he was protecting his wife, who was getting verbally abused. Well, at least Monday was a better day for another athlete, and his name, Park Tae-hwan. Now, on Monday, the Park Tae-hwan Aquatic Center opened in Incheon. The 24-year-old Olympic swimmer joined the mayor of Incheon, Song Young-gil, in the opening ceremony of the new aquatic center named after him. The center, which will seat over 3,000 people, will be used for the first time when the National Sports Festival kicks off on the 18th. Now, Park added that the facility is similar to what he saw during the Beijing Olympics and the Guangzhou Asian Games. And now finishing things off on the basketball courts, the Korean national basketball team faced off against Japan during the East Asian Championships and beat them 81-56 to win the bronze medal. Now, Lee Jong-hyun led the way for Korea as he put up 24 points on 11 rebounds. So congratulations to them, and that's going to wrap it up for me. This has been SJ. Have a great rest of the day, and see you guys again for your sports needs.
Good morning, I'm Lee Ji-hyun with your latest weather forecast. Well, here it comes. The chilliest day of the season is headed today, and current reading in downtown Seoul is at 15 degrees Celsius, and the highest temperature in Seoul is expected to rise to 15 today, so it's not going to get any warmer even after the sunrise. Well, this is due to the cold front from the north and the autumn rain. The rain will start from the Gangwon province in the morning and expect to drop about 70 millimeters of rainfall at the most. So if you're in this region, make sure to have an umbrella handy. But for the rest of the country, we will receive about a period of drizzle in the afternoon, so having umbrella with us won't be necessary. But we will need to dress up warmer than yesterday for sure. But all the rain should go away by the evening, and tomorrow will turn into a sunny but very cold day. Afternoon highs will be slightly higher for the central region, but lower for down south. So the entire nation will stay below 20s all day long. So we need to stay bundled for tomorrow as well. And it looks like people in the central region will wake up to single digit tomorrow morning at a low of 8. Until Saturday, we'll have a single digit morning low. So early birds like us will get to have a glimpse of early winter for next couple of days. So it's time to take up some of the thicker jacket and the mufflers. With that, it's time to take a look at the readings for today. Well, morning lows are lower than yesterday. So started off at 13, but afternoon highs will only get up to 15 degrees Celsius, which is 59 degrees in Fahrenheit, and Daegu should only reach to 19, while Gwangju and Busan top out at 22 and 23, respectively. Now let's see how other regions are looking. It looks like Jeju will rise to 22, while Daejeon and Dokdo should have the similar afternoon highs in the mid to late teens. Now that's all for Korea, and here's the global forecast for viewers around the world. That's all from me at this hour. Don't forget to bundle up before heading out, and hope you have a wonderful Tuesday.
And that does it for this Tuesday edition of Daybreak. But do stay with Arirang TV for more on the day's headlines.